Hey, grade six. So yesterday in class we talked about this stuff in social studies as we were starting to prepare for our social studies test on how Canada responds to um, international problems, things like world hunger or health and disease problems, disaster relief, child labor, human rights, environmental issues, and then conflicts that take place around the world. We covered five lessons or so. We skipped a couple, but basically we looked at these things, and then the idea is I provided framework for you. We talked extensively about how to make review sheets, and so the idea is that you're going to take this information, the information from your worksheets and your notes throughout the unit, and you're going to get a chance to create your own review sheet that you're going to submit to me, and that I'm going to use to make my own test questions. And so where we started with the first couple of lessons is we started with lesson one. We thought about the question about how do I see the world, and then what impacts how I think about the world. And so we covered things like the stereotypes that we might have about the global citizens of the world. But then we flipped it around and said, well, how do other people around the world think about us in North America? What we did then was we looked into lesson two and we talked a lot about these different kinds of maps that exist that indicate and illustrate people's perceptions of the world. And we have a very specific perception of what maps should look like. And people throughout history have come up with new and interesting ways of showing us the world in a different way. And what we did from that was we moved on to lesson three, where we started looking at the global issues, and we thought about what are the global issues in the world. And what we did was we looked at newspaper articles that talked about different events that were taking place, things that related to those things that I mentioned: hunger and disease and disasters and child labor and human rights and all that stuff. And so you guys got a chance to go through the five W's and then identified the key points about the news articles that you were reading about. From there, we moved on to lesson five, and what lesson five focused on was how the Canadian government responds to world issues. And so we started by learning about Lester B. Pearson as one of Canada's prime ministers. We talked about things like diplomacy and diplomats, humanitarianism. We looked at all of these different topics, things like the World Bank and DART and government aid, the World Health Organization, peacekeeping, the United Nations, the Canadian Forces, different delegations and delegates, and then CETA as well. And these are ways that the Canadian government is involved with responding to world events. And then once we learned a little bit about how the government responds to these events, then we talked a little bit about how do Canadians respond to world issues. And what we did was we learned about some different non-government organizations, or NGOs. So we looked specifically at the ones that are on the screen there: World Vision, Amnesty International, and the Mennonite Central Committee, World Renew, the Canadian Red Cross, and then Greenpeace, as to how these people who are not affiliated specifically with the government, how they respond to different world crises. And so all of these things that we looked at through these lessons were meant to show that Canada not only has great gifts, but also that they have a great responsibility, and that they are interested and have a responsibility to partner with other countries, with other organizations, to ensure peace and to try to take into account how to alleviate these problems that are going on. Ultimately, where we go from here is how can we, as grade 6 students, respond to world issues? How can we get involved? What kinds of things can we do as 11, 12-year-olds? And so that's where this is going. But for now, that's sort of a summary of the things that we talked about at length. And you can use that information to copy down the sheet if you need, or to create your own review sheet. Make sure that you use the worksheets that I gave you throughout the course of the unit, and I hope that is helpful to you guys.